you look at most firms, they have about 2% attrition on an annualized basis. From beginning to end of a transaction takes about 6 months, right? And so generally we'll see 99% of the assets come across. So is that because of the transaction, or is that just because naturally there's 1% attrition every 6 months? And I think it's sort of the natural kind of the natural course of the business. It's interesting. The clients seem to ask three questions, and they ask them in the same order. And I think, Eric, you touched on this a little bit. So the first question they ask is, why are you doing this, and are you happy about it? They want to make sure that the advisor has not been forced to sell their business because of a gambling debt or some crazy. So the second question is, are you staying? Right, because the relationship is with the advisor, right? The connections with the advisor, not really with the firm. And the third thing they'll ask is my fee changing? Okay, right? Because they want to make sure that somehow they're not going to be sold to some evil corporation that's going to bump their fee up. But they trust that advisor, right? They trust that advisor usually for a decade at that point, and they trust that advisor to make a good decision. And then the fourth question you sometimes get, especially if they're a business owner client, they'll say, well, did you make a lot of money? And they want you to have made a lot of money. So we see a lot of anxiety from advisors around this transition, but we really haven't, just like you, Eric, I really haven't seen any adjustments based on sort of attrition at the time of the close. The other thing I would tell people is that when they talk to their clients, it's really an and story, not an or story with us, and that's a big deal. So our story is you can keep doing what you were doing before around the relationship management, the planning, and the investments. And now we have a lot more services that you can offer. So we have bill pay and bookkeeping and tax prep and a trust company and advanced investment opportunities and all these different sort of and so the advisor can invite in all of those additional services to the relationship, but they never have to. And that's a very compelling story for our client, which is I now know that I have all these other things at my disposal that are fully integrated with everything that was happening before, but my advisor is not going to be forced to change. The one place where I have seen issues, not with our firm, but with other firms, is if it's a product-based organization buying an RIA, and there's anticipation that there's going to be the sale of product through the channel, right through the RIA channel, that oftentimes will turn off both junior advisors who will leave, and will also turn off the clients. And so if the clients feel like the transaction somehow is going to allow the buyer to take advantage of them or to make money on them in an unexpected way, they pick that up, and that can create problems. I've heard some stories around that, although I haven't experienced it firsthand.